Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. We are in Aura August, okay, guys? And today we're talking about how we can influence the primal brain, how we can persuade the primal brain, okay? This is essentially a good way to brainwash yourself. If you're familiar with Chase Hughes, this is his model, okay? His model is called Fate, which is weird, I know, but the word weird means fated. Therefore, we are fated towards this path. And if you're here watching this video, clearly you manifested it. So thank you for tuning in today, okay? We win in every single millisecond we win in, okay? There's not a moment of loss, there's only lessons. Let's get it. So the first part of the model is focus, okay? Now, there was a very interesting practice that I had done a little while ago where I had used ChatGPT to create a version of myself that was my best self, and a version of myself that was my worst self, okay? Now, this stark contrast creates this motivational push and pull within, right? It almost creates this sense of resistance that you can lean into and understand. It gives you focus and flow. It gives you that momentum charge, right? So what I do is each morning I would look at this image, squint my eyes slightly, and have it move me forward to get me the desired outcome that I truly prefer. So your RAS basically notices what you repeat a lot. And so if you're looking at this image daily of your best self and your worst self, every day you've got to be forced to make a choice. Will I be charging this version of me, or will I be charging this other version of me, right? And the second thing you want to notice is authority, okay? Now, this could come through many different ways, of course. There's a social authority using social proof, so getting testimonials or this kind of understanding. And another factor is, of course, finding role models for you, right? Now, this is something that I think we deeply involved ourselves in throughout our lives, right? Like when we were small children, we would be very inquisitive and excited about the idea of having a role model, having a superhero we look up to, or having this incredible resilience that we can actually charge within ourselves, right? And so I think this idea of authority comes down to that. It's like you're really creating an image of your future self through this, right? Which is going to be very, very key. Now, do you believe you're your own authority? Or are you trying to superimpose always other authorities in your life? This is another important question to ask. But obviously, you want to also reflect on all of the different archetypes and role models that are out there on planet Earth that actually help you charge your mammal brain and give you that primal code. Let's say you take 10 different images of 10 different role models that you wish to aspire to be like. As you're feeding that into your brain, right, you're almost feeding your lizard brain those images, because that's how your lizard brain thinks, okay? That's how your reptile brain thinks, through images. So the more you embellish your brain in these images of these certain individuals, or you listen to podcasts with them, or you start listening to, not necessarily only podcasts, but you start basically watching shows with them, you start watching movies with them, you start engaging in interviews with them, right? And so this is what's going to really be powerful in remaining in that unshakable mindset, right? Not really being able to be easily swayed or perturbed by different things or visions that come up, right? But really staying on point, on Tao, on clarity, on God. If you want to embellish yourself and know that you can access these different realms in any way possible, right? If you have that in your mentality, you are going to be able to do that. But if you feel like, no, that's not possible, I don't know, people are discouraging me from this, this is not really going to work, right? If you fill your head up with those types of things, your primal brain won't really listen to you, because again, it has to be connected to your survival in some way, right? So what is helping your survival and what's diminishing your survival? This is something you got to ask yourself, okay? The next thing we have is tribe, okay? Having a tribe or an accountability is really, really key, because it's going to allow you to step into the echo chamber of what that tribe represents. So we have a tribe, it's on Telegram. We have a more inner circle tribe with 11 members. which is the PrimalSutra Adepts program right now. If you want to join that tribe, that's more cutting edge, more smaller group of people, but we're like refining weekly, we're refining daily, right? But yeah, you can also join the free Telegram group and be connected to all of our different events, all of our podcasts and so forth, okay? We are heading to Sedona, Arizona this year, so tune in for that as well. So definitely remember to involve your community in some way, or at least seek community that is out there that resonates with your end goals, right? Goal setting is dead in 2025, guys. We have to start to embellish more of these techniques that really help us. Now, one thing that I've done is I have used this like Snapchat filter to see myself as an old man, okay? And as I'm seeing myself as an old man, it's actually giving me an impetus to actually lean into that future version of me, right? And I think that's actually very inspiring. If you can find a way to do this, there's many apps that change filters and stuff like this, make you older. But if you really start leaning into this, you will start slowly taking the traits of that old man who's winning, right? You're seeing your own face as an old person with wrinkles of time, you know, in that imagery. So now you're kind of giving yourself more strength in a sense, right? Because you are now not just attached to the image of me right now, but also the image of my senile self, my old self, that I'm now bridging the gap towards, right? I'm not that I'm gonna be older faster or whatever, that's whack, but I'm taking the codes of that old version of me and bringing it and pulling it into the now. Now, this is very interesting because it seems to actually help with productivity, at least for me. I don't know how it's gonna affect you guys. You can try it out, obviously, but I think it makes you feel that you have a specific time constraint, right? That one day, yes, I am gonna get older, and you know, that's gonna be a fact of life. We're all growing older every day, right? But seeing that image really, I think, helps you to proclaim towards yourself that this is really what I prefer. This is truly what I desire, instead of like making it up or whatever, okay? Nobody wants to make up shit, right? We all want to embellish in the reality that we have created from a foundation, from a ground up. Once they're emotionally activated by you, they're gonna absorb what you say more. So this is what is called suggestibility in hypnosis. You gotta understand that some people are more left-brained and some people are more right-brained. So when you're speaking, speak using emotional language as well as logical words. Try to bridge both of your hemispheres together when you are speaking. This is automatically gonna pull in different kinds of people, because hey, the left-brained people will resonate with you, the right-brained people will resonate with you, and the full-brained individuals who are like the geniuses, they will also resonate with you, okay? So this is gonna be a very important element, because once they trust, admire, and notice this emotional intelligence within you, they're gonna more likely absorb what you have to say and create less resistance to what you have to say. Usually, in day-to-day life, people always have their guards up. What do I mean by that? It's very difficult for people to actually be open and vulnerable with somebody. But if you can remain in this openness, you will actually start to notice that you're having much more of an impact on others, because then technically it's like they're also, right, being impacted by that. So it's not like one thing, it's like you start tapping into many things at once. Have you ever been vulnerable with somebody and then you get deeper into that? Like, if you start to understand that you are being so open and vulnerable with somebody, not in a weird way, like not like you're complaining about something, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you are having this openness, but you also have a commitment towards a solution that you're creating for yourself, right? So you're not putting the burden on other people. Essentially, once you feel more so in your openness, other people around you will also feel this sense of openness and trust with you, okay? And I think that's really key and important, especially when it comes down to persuasion and influence, okay, guys? Because otherwise you're just kind of being in the same circle, right, over and over again. And once you get that, then you can actually try to adjust that, right? It's almost like adjusting a dial, right? It's like if you can adjust that dial and like really connect towards yourself and stay open, then other people are also going to get the wave form, the aura of that. If somebody recognizes themselves in you, then they will be much more likely to follow you, okay? This is why subtle mirroring is very, very powerful in creating and bridging a rapport with somebody. Let's say you're not getting along with someone, right? And let's say that they're sitting down and they have their hand on their chin. You don't want to also copy them, because then it's going to look very straightforward. And it's kind of going to look like you're mimicking them or something, or mocking them, right? But rather, if you just kind of maybe scratch your chin, just like they have their hands here, right? And for that short amount of time, that chin scratch builds a weird rapport in a strange way, because they're seeing it almost like a mirror, right? People like people that are similar to them. Correct? So that's why you're going to build a faster rapport with people that you feel very deeply connected to, and you feel like, hey, I'm kind of like them. I get their ideas, right? I resonate with this person because I sense that there is something building a bridge between me and them, right? And so you want to kind of be this bridge builder in a sense. That's going to really help you to influence your primal brain, to then influence the world around you, okay? Now, remember, influence is a very feminine energy, right? It's not a masculine energy of impact, of direct consciousness, right? Solar logos, it's not that. It's more so a lunar subconscious quality, right? And so it's going to be a little bit more reserved. It's gonna require a little bit more restraint and self-control from you. But if you can really start to think in terms of this model, you will notice that influence comes quite easy when you can connect with where you can influence your own life, right? And then that starts to impact and ripple across to others as well. I mean, the next thing is obviously leadership. You have to know where you're leading somebody, right? They want to follow the vision that you have built out. They don't want to follow your uncertainty or your doubt, okay? Nobody wants to follow it. Nobody wants to comply with that. So you have to be very direct in terms of your leadership. So if they're hanging around you and they feel that you have a safe and predictable future that you're leaning into, they will actually build faster rapport with you, more congruence, more connectedness, okay? Because you're not dilly-dallying on your path. Like, you are a human being who has actually doubled down and been like, hey, I'm a human being, I do this well, I know myself like this, I have these qualities, right? Once you really know thyself, tenet noske, then you can start to magnetize others into your echo chamber, in a sense, okay? We're all walking hive minds, if you really think about it. So we're not one individual persona. The persona or the mask, the social mask, is what we show others at times. Right now, my mask is breaking, right? Because I'm in public, speaking my raw, honest, compassionate truth with people, you know, walking around this park and so forth. So it's kind of helping me to break out of that judgment, or like, what are people going to think, or that kind of, you know, rumination thing that happens for a lot of people, right? Because once you start to maintain your own energy health, everything else starts to shift, right? Your health, your wealth, your relationships, your different things in your life will start to shift the more you focus on your own energetic hygiene and your own energy protection, right? So I want you to think about expectation and how people expect you. If people expect your avatar or your character to win, it's gonna win. You get what I mean? So there's specific qualities that make you the most you that you can be. You get what I mean? And that's so powerful to know and notice, because once you get that understanding, you're not like going backwards and pondering about the past anymore. You're looking at your past like it's a library full of memories, and you're looking at your future as this database where you can imagine things and conceive and conjure the future into the nowness, right? So once you're living from this eternitas, guys, there's a cow right there. Dang, this is India, right? Moo, they always saying Om backwards, right? For example, I'll give you some real world examples. Like, let's say that you're coaching, okay? You start with an openness, you create a connection or a rapport, and then of course it ends with a compliance, right? That they will either come back or they will get some tools or resources from you. I'm a coach and I've been a coach for many years, so I understand that this structure is really good for coaching. And let's say that, let's say you're rizzing someone up, okay? Focus is important, right? Obviously, like if you're scattered and you're not creating that time warp effect, it's not very positive for you. So for flirting with someone, it's more so focus, suggestibility, and then an expectancy, right? You have a clear goal in mind, you have a clear escalation channel, you have a very clear understanding of where this is going, and maybe you're understanding the suggestibility, right, of this other person. Are they very closed off in their body language? Are they kind of open and free? They're more languid and flowing. So these things are very important to note, because then we will really start gaining a better reservoir, or inner reservoir of these techniques that we are collecting, almost like Pokemon, right? Like in the Pokedex or whatever. Then, of course, for social media influence, you can use suggestibility, focus, and emotion, right? Emotional congruence. So understand that you can use any of these persuasion tools. Of course, Cialdini also has a bunch of persuasion tools in his book Influence, which is like scarcity, liking someone. There's a bunch of other ones, right? You guys can look that up on your own time. A proper understanding that you're not stuck in the same labyrinth, right? Over and over again, that you're creating ways out of the maze, right? So I think it's really key and important to, hey, what's up, man? You want to be in my video? So if you start to understand that there's many different ways to be able to, connect and redirect where you're going in terms of where you're really strategizing towards, right? Like if you can speak very clearly to your primal brain, I love speaking to my subconscious mind with that kind of cathedral effect, okay? I learned this from Rion, actually, the power liminals, right? How it has this echoey kind of effect. Like, when you're in a church or a cathedral or an auditorium, it has this kind of echo, right? This kind of resonance. For some reason, we as humans seem to connect with that and love hearing that echo. Now, I don't know what it is about this it creates kind of a more of a morphic resonance, perhaps. However, we talked about that yesterday, right? So try to see if you can go to sleep with listening to this kind of echoey version of your voice. Do some audio engineering. I mean, the audio guys out there, do some audio engineering. You can easily do it on iMovie as well. There's like the cathedral effect. Very easy to do, right? And if you're listening to your own voice like that, you're actually going to command your subconscious very differently, because now it's like you're listening to a version of you, but it has this resonant effect, right? This auditory eminence to it. Now, the sad part is you won't really be influencing anybody if you're scattered, if you're scared, or if you're sort of like very surface level, right? You're not going into the depth of things, and you're sort of giving the tidbits to people, right? I hate this kind of stuff, man. Like the tidbits. Okay, let me just give the 3 best tools, and I'll plot them out in just the right timing. I don't want to manufacture my value and authenticity like that, bro. I just want to speak my mind and elevate. You get what I mean? And again, this is kind of like an energetic Aikido. You have to understand the way that people's psyches breathe, okay? And once you really get that, then you can start emanating this freshness and this, mind palace of yours that you have actually facilitated and created now. Understand that you have a very inner sanctuary that you can connect to. Where is that sanctuary for you? Once you know your 0 point, your baseline, then everything else flows from that space, right? That state of mind. So you just kind of embody that state of mind and you move it along forward. Honestly, the best times that I've been most persuaded for something is when I'm getting massive value from something. And I can only know that based on my character strengths, right? So if I'm really good at something, like let's say I'm a confidence coach or whatever, I'm really good at that. I'm not gonna constantly read about confidence. I may do that in the first part of my journey to learn and like do all the coaching and do all of the experiences, get the certifications, right? But then after a while, you become the mage, you become the master of that craft, right? So why are you still learning about confidence years later, right? It's like, I just want the newest tech, I want the newest tech. I used to be like this, but I don't care for the newest tech anymore. I care for the tech that works. You get what I mean? Like, yes, there's always gonna be new tech. You get what I mean? It's like, does that really resonate with my energetic structure and the way I maintain my life and the way that I'm doing things, right? Does it match with my avatar in this physical reality, right? So this is really key, guys, and I hope this video helps you out today. Have an incredible rest of your day. Hey, we keep winning. Day 4, Aura August. You already know what it is. Hit that like and subscribe button if you resonated, and I'll see you in the Telegram group. Let's win, okay? Have an incredible rest of your day. Hey, book a free call with myself and Ryan G for 15 minutes if you're interested in this. Let's go. Upward spiral. Boom.